Let's talk a bit about how do people become a better leader. And I think we all, it's not a shame. I mean, we can all improve every day. So great. What ideas do we have for people who listen now in our podcast here? Because I have realized, for example, when I worked with GM in procurement, and it was a huge organization, and it was a huge global organization where, it was even, you think, more difficult for, everyone to understand, and for managers, leaders to get people on this train that we needed to be on. And what I realized is, at first I was a bit agitated, and I felt like, oh my God, we're hearing this for the fifth time now. But then I realized, well, the more we were actually talking about things, the more it got into everyone's habits, right? Because if you say things once, it just doesn't mean that everyone understands it in the same way. Everyone is, jumps immediately on a train just because you say something once. I think you have to prove, you have to walk the talk, and you have to repeat and make sure that people really understand, and kind of today you would say even, find this purpose for why they get up every day. Is that something you have also observed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to the vision, I often hear leaders say, yeah, but I talked about that 9 months ago. We know what it is. And as you say, it's that repetition, it's bringing it into the day-to-day work. This is our vision, this is where we're going, and this is how your daily task is related to that vision. And when it comes to purpose, of course, that's something that we've seen a growth in recent years, because we know that purpose-driven companies outperform those that don't have purpose. And purpose isn't something that should just be written on a PowerPoint or on the corridors of an organization. It's the why. It's the why the company exists. And I think a lot of people get this wrong because they think, oh, here we go. Here's another sort of tick in the box. We need to get this purpose achieved. But it's more, what are you on this planet for? And Patagonia have got this really down to a T. They're very good when it comes to purpose, because they're looking at, how can we demand more to save our home planet? And they're very much, I mean, they've had the advertising campaigns about don't buy our jackets, this cycle of waste. So very much living the purpose, that's their reason for being. And as I say, I think they're one organization that's doing it really, really well. And I think the other point I have there is I often use the analogy of a train journey. You mentioned trains earlier, when we're talking about the vision, for example. So if you're on a leadership team, it could be the vision, it could be change. You've been talking about that for some time, maybe a few months. And then when you launch that to the organization, it's the first time that they're hearing it. So often the leadership team I see as the driver of the train, who's gone through the tunnel and is out the other side in the light, in the daylight, whereas the rest of the organization maybe in the tunnel, or maybe haven't even left the platform, or they could have gone on another train. So that analogy, I think, is quite nice to think about as a leader. Where am I on that train? Am I driving this change so I know a lot about it, I've been working on it for a few months, or am I at the back of the train or on the platform, haven't even started? And depending where you are on that train, you'll have different needs.
Absolutely. So this really means to make sure you understand the organization, you understand what's going on in this change process, where people are in these various phases of change, to make sure that you're not losing some of the people, right?